I want to do now is I want to play a short video so that you can see what that test actually looks like in practice.
The evolution is simple. Jump in, front flip, and swim. It might seem a relief to swim in 80-degree water, but going 50 meters while holding your breath can create apprehension, and there is no hiding it. Phase 1 is a 9-week course intended to expose each student's commitment to endure hardship through physical stress. SEALs believe that if a man cannot withstand the stress of a beach or swimming pool in Coronado, California in peacetime, he will never survive in the conditions of sea, air, and land combat.
All right, again, it's a pretty straightforward test. You're going to come up to the edge of the pool, you're going to jump in, you do a front flip, and then you're going to swim 50 meters underwater. What I want to show you now is what happens to a lot of people when they first attempt that challenge. Andrew, get up here. Get up.
Do the Red Cross thing 4 to 6 minutes before you start with the brain damage on an average person. These guys are healthier than average. You check the clock, you see they're really only underwater for 40 seconds. But if they're passing out to some kind of reflex response, they just lock up, they're all spun up standing here on the side of the pool, a little anxiety. But I'm not concerned unless that guy is not breathing for 2 minutes straight.
Come back. Come back to the light. Or don't go to the light.
Come back.
All right, so if you remember nothing else from this morning, you have to remember, don't go to the light. Well, what I'm explaining is what happens to somebody in a situation like this. So in a situation like this, he's clearly failed the test. And what happens is he's pulled out of the pool. He's told to head over the corner, catch his breath. Then after he's caught his breath, he's told to come back up to the edge of the pool, to jump in, do a front flip underwater, and swim 50 meters underwater. Because the challenge remains. Because the challenge remains. I am working today with a group of men and women who I know, because of the physical injuries that they have, because of difficulties and challenges at home, because of overcoming post-traumatic stress, I know that they're not going to win every single day on this new path. But what I also know is that as a leader, and as a leadership team, I also know that I fail them, and that as a community, as a country, we fail them if we don't say to them every single day that the challenge remains. And the challenge for every single one of them is to come back home and to find a way to continue to live a purposeful life as a citizen leader again here at home. If there's anything I think that we can do as leaders, for the people who are counting on us, the people who are working with us, is for us to be able to clearly define for every single one of them what that challenge is for them every single day. Now the other thing though that I want you to notice about this evolution was that as this guy was swimming, he's pushing himself, he's stepping past the margins of his past experience. He's challenging himself to do something he's never done before, and if he would have been swimming alone in the pool, he would have died. But the fact is that as he was swimming, every stroke that he took, there was somebody who was swimming on top of him, and the minute that he passed out, there was somebody who grabbed him and brought him to the surface. So if we are going to challenge people, if we're going to ask ourselves, if we're going to push other people and drive ourselves to try and do things that we've never done before, one of the things that we have to ask is who's going to be on this journey with us? You come together here, you have an opportunity like this together at the AOA to step outside of your normal routines. You think about how you're going to challenge yourself. You think about how you're going to challenge a team. It's also a perfect opportunity to think about who's going to be on this journey with you. Who are the friends, who are the colleagues, who are the people who you're going to rely on if you're really going to challenge yourself and you're going to try and bring about this kind of transformation in your own service and your own leadership. Now, as you're going through the training, they keep hitting you with these different tests. So later they ask you to swim down 50 meters or swim down 50 feet to tie a knot and come back up. They put you in small teams and they ask you to land these small rubber boats on jagged rocks. Those rocks are just over near the Hotel Del if you want to see those on your trip here. They ask you to land these small rubber boats on jagged rocks, sometimes in the middle of the night. And one of the things that they do is that they have an evolution called drown proofing. And what happens in drown proofing is that they tie your feet together, and then they tie your hands behind your back. Then with your feet tied together and your hands tied behind your back, you then have to jump in the pool. Then with your feet tied together and your hands tied behind your back, you then have to swim 50 meters. You come back from swimming 50 meters, you're in the 9-foot section of the pool. What they ask you to do then is to blow all the air out of your lungs. You sink down to the bottom of the pool, press up, come to the top, grab a quick breath of air, and then you sink back down. Now, the next thing that they ask you to do, when they first told us that we had to do it, I actually laughed out loud because I thought they were kidding. And they said, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take your face mask and we're going to throw it in the water. It's going to sink down to the bottom of the 9-foot section. And then with your feet tied together and your hands tied behind your back, you're going to swim down to the bottom of the pool. You're going to grab the face mask with your teeth. Then you're going to swim back up to the surface and back down 5 more times. Now, when you would do things like this, the instructors would always call them an evolution. Instructors would say, the next thing we're going to do is the drown-proofing evolution, or the next thing is going to be the 50-meter underwater swim evolution, or the next thing is going to be the 4-mile run in time to run in soft sand evolution, the 2-mile ocean swim evolution. And they kept calling them an evolution, and I had no idea why they were using that word. I thought, why don't you just call them the next test, or the next challenge, or the next really painful thing that we have to do? And then finally, one of the instructors explained to me why they called them an evolution. What he said was, he said, every time in your leadership and in your service, every time that you make a voluntary decision that you're going to confront your fears, your character evolves. He said, every time you make a voluntary decision that you're going to move through pain in order to serve a larger purpose, your character evolves. He said, every time you make a voluntary decision that you're going to move through suffering in order to become stronger so that you can serve other people, he said, your character evolves. He said, what we're doing is we're setting up evolution after evolution after evolution. So that through this process of taking on a challenge every single day, eventually, you're going to get to a place where your character is evolved. And because of the way it's evolved, you will then be able to lead and to be of service to people as an ABC. Now, one of the other things that they love to do in the training, or they love to do these fireman carry drills. And what happens in a fireman carry drill is that you grab somebody and you throw them over your shoulders and you run with them down the beach through soft sand. And you grab somebody and you throw them over your shoulders and you run with them through a path in the mountains. Comes one evolution in the training, where what happens is it's a 10-mile run. Everybody wears a 40-pound rucksack and carries a rifle. But the trick is that every step along the way, at least one person is going to be injured and has to be carried. And again, I want to show you what that evolution looks like in practice.
The ruck hunt is a grueling 10-mile run across the island. Each man carries a rucksack loaded with sand weighing over 40 pounds. Everyone takes a turn at being wounded and must be carried as well. SEALs are trained never to leave a man behind.
Again, it's a pretty straightforward evolution. 40-pound rucksack, everybody carries a rifle, and it's a 10-mile run, and every step along the way, at least one person is going to be injured and has to be carried. Now, are there any thoughts about what it takes to do something like that successfully, ma'am? Can I ask if you have any thoughts on that? Sounds hard, absolutely true. Sounds tremendously hard. Sir, do you have any thoughts? It's a tremendous amount of determination, tremendous amount of willpower, absolutely. Well, I will share with both of you. There's one thing that I learned, and this is valuable for all of you in case you ever have to do this, or you know anybody who ever has to do this or anything like this. There's one thing that I learned that was absolutely key to success. And what you wanted to do at the very beginning, it's very important, at the very beginning, what you wanted to do was to position yourself so that you were standing next to the lightest guy.